There is Raptor news that is not related to the product on the court. In fact, the Knicks would argue it is so tangential to the basketball side of the NBA that they don't want federal judges to throw their lawsuit against the Raptors out of court. We heard the other week that the Raptors had responded and basically said, this is a waste of the court's time. The NBA should handle it. Today, the Knicks come back, or the other day, the Knicks come back, but we now have details about it via ESPN's Baxter Holmes, via our pal Fred Katz as well, that the Knicks have replied. They are seeking more than $10 million in damages as part of this. And that's part of their argument for why the NBA shouldn't handle this, because in the NBA Constitution, you can only go up to $10 million in terms of damages. So they want to go outside of that. They want more than $10 million. They think Adam Silver and Larry Tannenbaum, because Tannenbaum is the chair of the board, there's a conflict of interest there, since Tannenbaum's technically Silver's boss that way, and Silver would be seeing over this. And then there's also some James Dolan kicking his feet and screaming and throwing a tantrum. Yeah. Will, where do you want to start with this one? I imagine you have a lot of thoughts that we've mentioned before and amount to the Knicks are going to Knicks.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think the secondary part that you mentioned there with James Dolan kicking his feet, like, this is very clear. He also has stepped down from attending the Board of Governors. That does not mean that the Knicks will not vote on behalf of their franchise. Someone else will do it, but he's like, no, I don't want to do this anymore. It's clear that the league doesn't value my opinion, and therefore I'm just going to not participate in this anymore. He also, among the other things that were reported in Baxter Holmes' piece, it was also put in there that James Dolan was the only one who voted against the sale of the Hornets over from Michael Jordan to this new group that is going to own the Hornets. He was the only one who voted against the WNBA's expansion into San Francisco. What does that even have to do with James Dolan? I have no idea. Or the Knicks.
No, they're spite votes.
And then he's also like, yeah, I'm also not a big fan of revenue sharing. Guess what? I don't want to pay my bills either.
Yeah, this is one we've heard for a long time. That as a big market team, James Dolan, by the way, James Dolan just kind of like was born into this empire.
Of course,
he did not, bootstrap it from nothing all the way up. But thinks that because the Knicks are in the biggest market, and because they are, if not the highest revenue team, second to the Lakers. I can't remember the exact rankings last time we saw them. But his argument is basically like, revenue sharing is too extreme. We shouldn't have to float these small market franchises. No acknowledgement of the fact that the league's biggest revenue generator is a national TV deal that requires lots of teams, because you need the games to sell the product. He would be the first
billionaire to be against some elements of socialism. So I think this is just par for the course.
Yeah.
No, but seriously though, he's just like, it reveals to you that he is really trying to spite the league and trying to stick a finger in the eye of the Raptors, of the league. And I think it just describes his general pattern. I think the Raptors clearly don't take this that seriously, because they still employ Azothan.
And Noah Lewis and Darko.
Yeah, they're just around the team all the time. Well, I shouldn't see Azothan, but I mean, I think he works in like a more backroom setting maybe.
Yeah, I haven't physically seen him, but we never
Masai, I think, confirmed
all
on
of the
media day that he's still employed.
Has been that he's still,
yeah. So the easiest thing for the Raptors to have done would be to have let him go at least, right? It's like no offense to his job.
Although I do wonder then, if you let him go, if that's more evidence for the Knicks to be like, look, if they did nothing wrong, why would they let him go?
Where were they accusing Azothan of taking the data again?
Yes.
It's where is it? The data? Was it on
in Synergy?
Synergy. So he's Synergy Mamba. Azothan is Synergy Mamba.
By the way, Woj had a piece, or Baxter Holmes had a piece at the bottom of his reporting today, which was mostly on this Dolan side, that it is, and we knew this, but it's interesting to see it as the out sentence in a really well-reported national story, that it's generally accepted around the NBA that everyone who leaves a job does this and takes their own video, their own compilations, their own work. Because again, as we've talked about a bunch, the stuff that's on Synergy is not that deep. And if an NBA team was relying only on Synergy, or relying heavily on Synergy as anything other than like a video organizing tool, they are way behind. Like, that data is just, that information is not at the level that other NBA teams have. It's not that big a deal.
It's like if you break up with somebody and then your ex is like, hey, actually, I don't want you to use the playlist, our Spotify playlist anymore.
Yeah.
That was our thing.
Was that something that happened to you personally, or is this
No.
an analogy?
So
never
I
happened.
I have not I've not had the playlist thing happen,
Yeah.
but I
Yeah.
have had the like I'm gonna change my password because you're messing up my algorithm
Yeah.
by
Okay, that's
sharing
fair.
my
That's
Spotify
different.
account.
That's different.
I've had never mind. So yeah, no, I think
They're
this is
like,
all.
give me back my cassette tapes.
I think it's pretty.
I was like, give me my home.
God damn it.
Oh my God.
I have been James Dolan. No, I think Masai said on Media Day, because that was the first question that he was asked when he came to the podium, and he's like, "Oh, there's only been one time that an NBA team has sued another NBA team," and I think it goes to your point, Blake. Like it's generally just like accepted that like, oh, when an employee leaves, goes to another team, they're gonna take some of this data with them. And clearly, James Dolan, wants to just kind of push this to the limit in terms of making it, as difficult as possible. Which in that
He wants to annoy Larry Tannenbaum. He
yeah,
wants to annoy
which in-
Masai. He wants to annoy Adam Silver.
Which in that regard, I respect. I don't. I mean, ultimately, I don't think this is gonna end up going anywhere. Like, I don't think the Knicks are gonna get this money that they're asking for.
Well, here's the thing. If they had actually gone in terms of the purpose of what would help the Knicks as a franchise,
Yeah,
if you go through the league and Adam Silver rules strongly in favor of the Knicks,
you can get a draft pick
you
or
can
something.
get a draft pick.
Yeah.
You can get some money on top of the draft picks
Yeah.
as well. But he wants to take this into the court specifically only to get money out of this,
Yeah,
which I don't think really benefits the Knicks.
yeah. Well, he's
In the
just
way
trying to
that,
be the
like, an
most
actual
annoying as
asset would be.
possible to the Raptors, basically.
Yeah, but I also think that it's like for the league as a whole, like, you don't want these sort of in-house disputes brought up in a really public way where it's like it just makes the league look a little bit worse.
Yeah, like it's not quite a slap lawsuit, and some states have anti-slap legislation, which is basically
What is
like
that?
it's I forget the acronym, but it's basically
No, this is Darko?
No, this guy got an acronym.
yeah, no, slap, SLAPP.
Oh, yeah,
It's
yeah.
basically
Slap
like
wizard.
you are like they're saying, for example, the X lawsuit against Media Matters. They filed it in Texas because they don't have anti-slap legislation. Basically, it's a frivolous lawsuit that is
Okay,
intended to be
all right.
like, don't even participate. Like
Yeah.
you don't have the legal legs to do this. You don't want. And so this isn't quite that, but it's definitely a PR play. It's a, hey, NBA, hey, Adam Silver, you don't want this in the news constantly. You don't want this hanging over games and the season. And we are in every filing going to try to drag the integrity of the league and the integrity of the Raptors through the mud, because that's the key point here, I think, for Dolan, is because you're right, Will. If this was about the basketball impact, I mean, first of all, you're probably going to have a tough time making the case that the damages are more than $10 million once a court knows what synergy actually is. But if this was purely a basketball case, you'd be asking for draft picks to make you whole. Hey, they hurt us from a basketball perspective. Make us whole. Give us a second. Give us a couple seconds. This is just about Dolan's pocketbook. So it follows a big pattern of that. And all of this other stuff, well, I'm not going to vote anymore. I'm going to send general counsel on my behalf. I'm going to vote no on other things that are otherwise unanimous. So you can't say they're unanimously approved and things like that. All of this is just aimed at Dolan spiting Adam Silver and kind of like a lot of the quotes in here, a lot of the stuff in the filing is questioning the league's integrity too. Like, hey, I no longer believe in the board. I no longer want to participate. I no longer have faith in Adam Silver as a steward of all 30 owners because of X, Y, and Z. It's a PR play.
Yeah, but here's the problem though. No one's taking this seriously. Like Dolan might think this is like a good PR thing for him, and he's trying to embarrass the league and stuff. But like, absolutely nobody is taking this seriously. Like, nobody's sitting here and thinking the integrity of the NBA has been compromised.
No, I think
really not one smart person.
There would maybe be a tiny bit of eyebrows raised that, hey, Larry Tannenbaum is technically Adam Silver's boss through the way the league's
So
constitution
can Adam Silver
operates.
not make any decisions about the Raptors then? That's ridiculous.
Right, exactly.
That's absolutely ridiculous.
Also, like the other owners could just be like, yo, Larry, step down and we'll put another chair. Like he's still one of 30. He just
isn't Larry
speaks
actually
for them.
stepping down too?
I don't know
we heard
about that or the
last year, right?
timeline.
I don't think
I
he's
don't know
gonna
about
step down
a timeline
from
for
that
that.
role.
All right.
Anyway, this is all nonsense. And yes, the James Dolan takeaway, I don't mean that the claims are necessarily nonsense, but the entire process is nonsense. And I think Jason Conception tweeted it best earlier today when he's like, all that this James Dolan stuff of like, I'm not participating anymore, the board doesn't represent me, etc. Basically, it comes down to everyone has been telling you for 25 years they don't like you and don't want to hear from you.
Yeah.
And you're now, for the wrong reasons and accidentally, being like, fine, I'll go away. I'll give everyone what they want, and you won't hear from James Dolan anymore.
Yeah, I mean, look, listen, like it's not a flattering thing, but I also do wonder in terms of like how this affects going forward, employees in the NBA changing teams. Like the NBA largely employs the same people, and they will go from franchise to franchise if they need to, and maybe escalate roles or whatever. But if this is the case, then like it's gonna probably put definitely everyone on alert. It's definitely one of those things. It's like you don't want to, cross this boundary for essentially everyone got a little bit more careful about data safety or whatever. But I think too, it's just like if the Knicks are gonna act in this way, like how's that gonna affect Knicks employees who want to look to make the next move in their career?
Yeah, well, they're literally under surveillance at the arenas.
Well, that's too. So
I mean, I don't think this actually affects it.
I just hope it doesn't hurt the Raptors.
Yeah, for all the Azotams out there, be careful when you move jobs.
That's what I'm worried about. I'm worried about the next Azotam.
And that's part of what the Raptors said in their counterfiling was that like, hey, this is not only is this frivolous and silly, but also like this has the potential to affect other people's ability to take new jobs and stuff like it's anti-competitive, it's anti-competition, and it's like anti labor freedom.